Greetings everybody, I'm Amy from SewInformed.com. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a great class. We're doing beautiful cut work, and not the cut work you traditionally think of. We're going to do cutting out a neckline from a knit shirt, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, whatever you want to do. We're going to talk about doing some just some raw edge. These are fused fabric leaves on here, and we're going to add some sparkles and some bling, and we're going to talk a little bit about layout and working with your knit. This is a more simple one that I did with just some poinsettia leaves just on one shoulder. You could be over the top or not so over the top, but it's a pretty technique, and it really gives a fresh look to a basic black t-shirt or a sweatshirt or really any color shirt. So it's going to be pretty simple supplies. It's just all up to your imagination and how much decoration or bling you like. It's up to you. The first thing I do is lay out my colors on my background, and I kind of get an idea of what I'm going for. Okay, I don't like the mauves. Sometimes unexpected is good. Like this would be a green and you're thinking, oh, maybe I like that green. That green's too limey, so I'm going to pull it apart. And we get very intense color, but it doesn't have to be traditional. If you want to add these blues, I like the golds, the browns. You need a nice mix of light, mediums, and darks. There's some ultra suede. It's all about texture and color and gradation. So once you pick your palette, it doesn't take many leaves, and this becomes, if you're going to ask me exactly how many leaves, I couldn't tell you, because it all depends on how big your neckline is, how many you want to use. Okay, so once you get a placement you start to like all my leaves are hanging down until I get to my shoulder, and then I reverse them and I make them go the other way. You can play with this as much as possible, but I'll tell you what, I like the way that looks. So I'm going to have a partial circular neckline, because it's more important you know how to hem this if you don't go all the way around, because if you go all the way around you're just cutting it. It's no biggie. So what I like to do, and I will tell you a little trick, if you do this at your ironing board or on an ironing mat, if you try to pick this up and take this to the ironing board, we're not worried about the stitches being absolutely perfect stitch length like we would if we're quilting. We're adding texture, we're adding detail, and you might want to start at the back of your shirt and then work to the front. So when you get to the front, it's beautiful. Okay, so what we'd like to do is, I always like to pull up my bobbin thread first. Sink my needle, bring my needle up, and now I'm going to just kind of pull a little bit, and there it is. I like to know where it is when I first start, so I can lock this into a knot and it doesn't get tangled underneath. So I'm just going to hang on to these. Now to tie a knot, all I'm going to do is take a couple stitches, go forward, back, just a crumb, you can't even tell I'm moving, and then I'm going to cut these tails. Let me turn my little foot lifter thing on. Here we go. So now you're going to relax, whatever that means to you, and I'm just following the shape. You know, they make gizmos that go around and hold things, but for this kind of detail, and I try to see how that's starting to come apart. I just want to know where I'm going to stop and start. That's all. That's my big issue. And again, if you have a little bit of a leaf over, you're just going to trim it out of the way. So I have another stopping point. I have to decide. I don't want to go too far. I'm going to stop cutting right here. Get as crazy as you want. It's all up to you and your personality. I can say there's never enough sparkles on anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project. I'm excited about this new technique, kind of opening up a ready-made shirt, and you're going to love it, because the more you know, the more you sew.